Hello, this is Silvia Pavone, investment editor of The Banker, and I'm talking to Antonio Alves, who is the senior regional head for trade finance in Latin America and the Caribbean for the IFC, the International Finance Corporation, part of the World Bank Group. Antonio, while during the difficult times of the past couple of years, where the whole world and Latin America more recently suffered for a major economic downturn, the IFC role was the FC was called in to help with the bank's liquidity. Now things have changed as the economies are picking up, and perhaps banks are now coming to you with a different set of requirements. One of them could be the Basel III capital impositions and their effects on trade finance. What are the comments and the requests that you're getting from your meetings with your banks?
Thank you for the question, Silvia. Yes, IFC, the role of IFC is really to be where nobody wants to go, or to really provide some risk mitigation to increase the capacity of emerging market banks. So in the past, when we had a crisis, due to the risk, IFC was connecting or providing better access to finance emerging market banks. And we really had an important role during the during the 2008 crisis, really providing this access mainly to the export finance or import finance in Brazil, in Argentina, in Honduras last year because of the political crisis. Now the situation, as you mentioned, is changing. Liquidity is back to the market. Latin American economies are really growing. It's fashionable now to work with Brazil or Peru or Colombia or even any country in Latin America, I would say. So the situation is totally changed now, has changed now. And we also have a new element in the dynamics of the trade finance business, which is, as you mentioned, the Basel III. Basel III will have a big implication in trade finance business because it will increase the capital allocation for lenders to work with emerging markets. And IFC can provide AAA credit risk guarantee to mitigate that risk and therefore to reduce the allocation of capital. Because under Basel III, the AAA credit risk has a very low capital allocation. So we see the role of IFC really to keep the flow of financing between developed countries and Latin America, even with Basel III. Our role will be to keep this flow live.
Latin America and the Caribbean play a very important role in the IFC life. In fact, we were saying that 34% of deal volumes come from that region, with a total, I believe, of $1.2 billion. So it is clearly a very important region. And as you quite rightly mentioned, it is now fashionable to look at Latin America and bring capital in Latin America. But when Latin America trades outside of the region, that movement is been shifting away from the US, which used to be the main trade partner, and to Asia, the current main trade partner. And I was wondering whether you have seen an increased participation at this year's Felaban of banks coming from that part of the world, and perhaps even new banks from new regions.
Indeed, the trade flow is shifting from north to south or south to north to south-south. For the first time this year, I saw Indian banks in Felaban. I saw South African banks in Felaban. So that shows that there is really an interest to make this link stronger, the link between Latin America and Africa, between Latin America and South Asia, or even the Middle East. IFC, as I would say, would be a bridge to connect these emerging market banks. The Asian, Middle Eastern or African bank, they don't know the region, they don't know Latin American banks. IFC has a very strong presence. We have a very solid program in Latin America, And our role will be to really introduce Latin American banks to Asian, South African, or Africa in general, and Middle Eastern banks. And indeed, we have started this already, mainly with Chinese banks. And so far, we have some success stories in different countries. For example, last week, we just did the first transaction between a bank in Panama and a bank in China. So these kinds of stories are the ones that we are really pursuing.
You also mentioned in earlier that as the Latin American region grows, the need for the IFC services, let's say, is shifting and moving away from certain countries and on to others. And one of the regions that I know you are keen to develop is the Caribbean. What are your plans to pursue such targets?
Yes, we started this program in the South America, with Brazil, then shifting to Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Chile. We were moving north. Last year we were very focused on the Central American region. Today we have banks in all Central American countries, and now our main target is the Caribbean. In the Caribbean we have already 3 banks, one in Haiti, the other one is in Dominican Republic, and the third one is in St. Lucia. We really want to increase our presence in this sub-region, the Caribbean, because it's a region that is not well explored by international banks, probably because of the size of the economies or just the lack of interest, because historic, it's not a very important region in terms of volumes. But IFC has a role there to help those local banks to improve their standards on how to work and trade. And hopefully, with our help, they will have better access to finance, as we did in Bolivia and Honduras last year. And we are very confident that we can make a difference in the Caribbean.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.